Here we go now, baby. Welcome to the Covers NBA show for Friday, March 27th. My name is Joe Osborne, representing the five-time Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins today. That guy right there is John Metler. We're coming at you guys today with 6 total bets across the National Basketball Association. A lot of double-digit spreads tonight, 6 to be exact, with 3 of them of 16 and a half or more. So some really lopsided matchups, but we think we got some pretty good looking spots here for you guys tonight. Before we get into those, though, let's recap what we did yesterday, and I get to do it again. Sweet boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we come for you, Sweet Boys 5-0 show yesterday? That's 5 straight winning shows here. So light work for me, 1-0 with the Knicks going under their team total. They scored 36 points in the opening quarter, but then they really fell off. John did the heavy lifting for us. He connects on his 3 props, and the 5-star connects on the fade of Devin Carter. A close one, but a win is a win. Wins all count as the same. John, any big takeaways from your big night last night?
Well, if there weren't any Dennis Jenkins fans before yesterday, before yesterday, there definitely are some now. He gets over that total. Paolo, the Magic, we talked about it. They don't really close out teams. They don't blow out teams. And then he gets that fourth quarter run. He was over it. The Jalen Brunson one was hilarious because I was checking the box score. I think he had 5 assists early in the first half. And you're like, oh, we're well on our way. And then I go back like 5 minutes later, it's like 8 it cashed. I was like, wow, he got some assists really fast. So yeah, just a good night all around.
Feeling good, man. Sweet boys. What you gonna do? Let's do it again tonight. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, so let's get right into it. And let's start things off with my trend of the night in the NBA. And I'm gonna go back to the well on a popular spot here on the show. It is backing the Blazers in the first half. Tonight they're hosting the Dallas Mavericks. Check out this trend, guys. The Blazers are 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 first halves. And they're coming out absolutely flying, blowing teams out of the water. In those 6 games, out of those 6 games, 4 of them, they've had halftime leads of 17 or more. Looking at the bigger sample size, the last 10 games, it's first versus 22nd in both first half net rating and first half point differential. So the Mavs, by no means whatsoever, are they a good first half team or a good first half bet. Portland has been one of the best defenses in the NBA over that 10-game span. Meanwhile, Dallas really struggling on the offensive end. And they've been one of the worst defenses in the NBA as well. Over the last 10 games, they are dead last in points allowed. Really nice scheduling spot here for Portland. They've been home all week. They were off yesterday. They are off tomorrow. For what it's worth, these teams last met on December 29th. Portland led by 12 points at half in that one. So let's back them again. It's been a great spot. The best first half team in the NBA lately. Okay, a trio of props here, or spreads for John. Excuse me. We're going to start things off. The disgrace that is the Indiana Pacers hosting the Clippers. Clippers favored by 8.5. You like the favorite?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Clippers here. I think the Pacers are a little overvalued in the market. You saw them come away with a win against the Magic, and then they backdoor cover against the Los Angeles Lakers. So I feel like that's kind of playing into it. Make no mistake about it, this team is tanking. They do not want to win, even though they have Siakam, Nembhard, all these guys in the lineup. Don't expect big minutes. Like they, especially you're looking, this isn't like a couple weeks ago, say it was like 15.5 against the Knicks. They could easily lose that game and still cover. 8.5 is a much tighter spread in an NBA game when you're purposely tanking. And then you look at the matchups. The Clippers, we got to put some respect on the Clippers here. They're a playoff team. Like they started awful this year. They climbed back. They're over 500. You look at the matchups. They play that 5-out system. John Collins, Brook Lopez, they're going to shoot threes. They're going to pull Jay Huff away from the rim. I think it just opens up driving lanes for Darius Garland, Kawhi Leonard. So I like the matchups too. Give me the Clippers, minus 8.5.
Let's go to Memphis, where the Grizzlies kind of taking their foot off the gas as the season winds down. The Rockets favored by 12.5. I don't know. I think they're a bit tough to trust, but you are trusting Houston to cover this big number, John.
They are tough to trust right now, and I feel like you're going to get your answer probably in the first quarter if we're going to cover this or we're not going to cover this. I think they either come out angry, pissed off, and they blow the doors off the Grizzlies, or it's a close game and you kind of see the vibes you saw against the Timberwolves there at the end. The body language does not look good on the Rockets, so you are kind of worried about that. But I don't know, man. This team is really strong. They should be much better than they are. Again, you look at the matchups. The Grizzlies are starting our boy Omax at center. He's 6'8". Şengün 6'11". Like, the matchups are there. The Grizzlies like to push pace. That opens up more offense for the Rockets because Amen Thompson is one of the best players in transition. So there's a lot of matchups you like here. You are scared about what you just saw from the Rockets. I feel like you get the opposite. I think they come out angry, and I think they cover this 12.5.
Okay, speaking of big numbers, the Nuggets are favored by 18 points against the Jazz. And that's not even the biggest spread of the night. But 18 points, as I like to say, don't be scared of the big number, homie. You're not scared of the big number. You're taking the Nuggets to cover it.
Yeah, they're at home. I think Nikola Jokic versus Kyle Filipowski on the inside is probably one of the biggest mismatches you'll probably ever see in the NBA right there. And obviously you can get it's kind of like Şengün. It's the same thing with the Grizzlies. I like that both centers have good matchups. You can get easy buckets around the rim, easy way to blow out a team. When you look at this and you're getting up to 18, obviously the starters could come out and you need the bench to help you cover this. And I feel like that the fact that the Nuggets are fully healthy and you're looking at like Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr., Peyton Watson, all these guys coming off the bench, I feel like their second unit is probably better than the Jazz starting lineup. So you do see like that 18 point, they can keep it going even when they take out the starters. And worth noting too, the Grizzlies and the Jazz, they're both on the front end of a back-to-back here. You could throw in the towel real early for teams that want to throw in the towel real early, right? They don't even want to play their starters for minutes. They want to lose. So the scheduling spot too, I think also helps out. 18 big number. I had this at 22 when I priced it. So give me the Nuggets.
Okay, we're backing a bunch of big favorites so far. Let's back a big dog, the Washington Wizards. What could possibly go wrong? They're a 14.5-point underdog in Golden State. And I'm going to take them to keep this game close. So there's not a whole lot separating these teams statistically here lately. The Warriors haven't won a game by 15 or more in over a month as well. So you really do have to consider that. And I do not think you can justify this massive number. Steph Curry's not walking through that door. Jimmy Butler's not walking through that door for the Golden State Warriors here. 22nd versus 27th in net rating over the last 10 games. So a slim edge there for Golden State. And the Warriors, if you look at their most recent games, they're barely getting by bad teams, barely beat the Nets, barely beat the Mavs in their last two games. And you would assume a team like the the Washington Wizards has no shame whatsoever the way that they've carried themselves this season. But they have shown a little bit of scrappiness since being embarrassed by Bam and the Miami Heat. They've been a double-digit dog 6 times in that span. They've gone 4-2 against the spread in those games. They did keep it tight when these teams played a couple of weeks ago. Quite simply, I think it's too many points given the roster and the quality of play that the Warriors are throwing out there. So, yeah, let's back the Wizards tonight, baby. Plus 14.5 points. Okay, the Covers.com 5-star projection. That's been hot all week. Let's hope it can carry on that tradition into Friday night and the week strong. Tonight, the model likes Nick Richards of the Chicago Bulls to go under 9.5 points. The model is projecting 6 points, an even 6, versus the OKC Thunder in a game that has a 19.5-point spread, John. What is going on in the NBA here tonight? So Richards is coming off a 2-point game. I think he might have left that game. He only played 9 minutes, I believe. He's averaging just 9.6 on the month. What do you think of this fade of Nick Richards in this game with a massive spread?
Yeah, I think you look at the matchup too. I think so he's going to see minutes because the Bulls don't really have anyone else at center, and Jalen Smith I think is out for this one. But the Thunder, you're facing the Thunder. You're going against Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren. That's 2 of the best rim protectors in the entire NBA. And Nick Richards is pretty much just a lob threat. But you need to be a lob threat. You need your guards to break down and set up lobs for you. And against the Thunder perimeter defense, that's not easy either. So I can definitely see why they likes the under here.
Okay, we've been talking about tanking and the NBA trying to fix the lottery here all week, and some details emerged of 3 possibilities that the league will be taking. From what I gather, it's kind of confusing, like we talked about. Usually, if you confuse me, you lose me. But from what I gather, they're just kind of taking away like the worst teams having the best probability of getting the best pick. Teams will have even odds. Is that fair? A fair breakdown of what the league is proposing?
Yeah, we were joking about this yesterday. I was like, they're gonna come up with some solution that nobody understands, and you're just gonna lose fans when it's so complicated. No, and nobody knows what's even happening. It's not good for fans. And you saw when he tweeted out the first, excuse me, the first comment there was, "I'm not reading all that" on Twitter when I saw it. I was like, yeah, it's kind of how I felt too. Is like, wow, you couldn't make this more complicated. And teams are always gonna find loopholes. The first one to me makes the most sense. It was the top 18 teams, so it include the play-in tournament teams, so the 7th seed down, and then the top 10 get all the same odds to get the first overall pick. I get it. That's probably the simplest one. The other one was like a 2-year average of the teams. I'm not sure about that one because then you're like, teams might be like, we have to tank for 2 years to get a good pick. So then they just go tanking longer. The third one was very complicated. I feel like they'd probably vote on the first one. I just don't feel like any of these are real solutions. If anything, I feel like almost the simplest thing after they said the 18 teams and the top 10 and flatlining the odds, why don't you just exclude the 4 teams in the conference finals and give everyone else, like, you can take the bottom 10, give them a flat line, the next 10 a flat line, and like not that much of a difference. I'd have to do the math, maybe like a 1% difference. You got to really change it up. Like I said, I'm not too worried about fixing this for the Sacramento Kings, so I don't really feel bad if the worst teams don't get the first overall pick.
I like my idea. My idea is the best. If you are the worst team in the NBA, you will not be eligible to get the top overall pick. You should be punished if you're the worst team in the league. Enough of this race to the bottom BS. And if you're a bottom, and you shouldn't be eligible to draft in the top 3 or maybe even top 5 in consecutive seasons. I think something more simple like that could be
There was
the approach to take.
in the second option, it was like the 2-year average. You have to hit a floor of 25 wins to be eligible. And I was like, okay, makes sense. But you know what's going to happen there is once a team wins 25 games, they're going to start load managing, ruling guys out for injury. So everyone's going to try to manipulate no matter what. That's why I feel like you need a really drastic change and keep it very simple so people understand.
I think Adam Silver's the worst commissioner in sports. Now, I know his job is to make the league money and to make the owners money, and they've been fantastic at this. But they've gone through this over the past decade player empowerment era, whatever you want to call it, with this tanking, with this load management. You wouldn't see this with David Stern. Rest in peace. He was shutting down trades for basketball reasons. Remember that? Wasn't that the reason he gave when Chris
Chris
Paul
Paul.
got traded to the
Yeah.
Lakers? He says, we're not allowing this for basketball reasons. I think that
Yeah.
was the exact reason he gave.
Yeah. He
Oh,
shut it
yeah.
down.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Okay. That does it for today. Let's recap the picks that we gave out. I like the Blazers first half, favored by 6 against the Mavs. Taking a shot on the Wizards, plus 14.5. Let's go. I can see that maybe blowing up in my face and them losing by 50 tonight. John likes a trio of favorites. Clippers 8.5, Rockets 12.5, Nuggets favored by 18 points against the Jazz. And the covers.com 5-star projection of the day, Nick Richards under 9.5. Okay, it's been an awesome week here on the show, winning shows all week. So let's finish the week off strong. 5 straight winners, 6 straight going back to last Friday, actually, is what we're trying to do. So let's hope we do exactly that. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. We're going to be right back with you guys again on Monday. Enjoy the games tonight. Best of luck with your bets.